Did you know that Jeff Keighley is in the game Death Stranding and appears in the film The Matrix Resurrection as a games presenter? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello, welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 166. My name is Gareth Briley. I'm going to be your host. And on my virtual left is Mr. James Burks. How you doing, James?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
Oh, I'm very good. It's hot. The sun's out. People are drunk in London already. It's good, yeah. On my virtual right is Mr. Paul Renshaw. How you doing, Paul?
I'm all right, Gareth. I'm glad you didn't follow that sentence up with guns out when you said the sun was out, because nobody wants to see an old fella with his arms out, do they?
Yeah,
so
that'd be later.
Anyway, I'm I can't wait. Gareth in a wife beater. That'll be. We need pictures of that on the Instagram, which is apparently where you put pictures.
Yeah. And on my virtual opposite is Mr. Darren Edwards with a sigh of, oh my word. What am I?
Worth rushing back from work for this? I don't know. When you said guns out, Paul, I thought you meant actual firearms.
Well, that's obviously what I meant, isn't it? Because that's what you do in London. Yeah. Guns, knives, some kind of weapon.
Manchester's not so great these days, though, is it? So...
Nor is Leeds.
Or Leeds, as we've just seen. Yeah.
Might as well have Liverpool so I can complete the set. Yeah.
Our listeners.
I'm not going to... ladies and gentlemen, before we're going to now talk. This is a Summer Games Festival special, so we're not even going to say how's your week been. I don't care.
We just don't care.
No one's dying, are they? Is anyone dying?
No health updates today.
Good.
No, just stood down.
Good. So we watched the Summer Games Festival last night. We might do a little bit about the Devolver showcase. We probably won't have time. And the other one was, what was the other one called?
Guerrilla.
We might get a bit of that in as well. But we're going to mainly talk about the Summer Games Festival with Jeff Keighley last night, doing his best. I'm going to start with Darren. Just a general thing. We won't spoil anything yet. What do you think was a good festival or not? We like to always say this. Darren, I'm going to start with you. Do you think this was a good festival?
Oh, how did I know you were going to come to me first? So as you're probably aware, listeners, we always have a little bit of a chat going when we watch these festivals. And I thought it started quite well. Like I think Paul said, oh yeah, strong start, and then it kind of just, for me, fell a bit flat. And considering it's a 2-hour showcase, I thought, how are they going to fill 2 hours? And the answer is awkward interviews with people on stage and extra bits of DLC and adverts and tie-ins. I don't know, I just felt people wanted certain things from it, which we'll discuss, and it delivered some of those things. But I did think that there wasn't, considering 2 years ago at Summer Games Fest, Alan Wake 2 was announced officially kind of from rumours. You're expecting some big stuff because it's in the E3 schedule, and E3 used to be a big show on stage, and this kind of, everyone says, oh no, those stage shows with a packed audience won't work anymore. And here we are 3 years later, the different face on it. But yeah, I thought it was a bit of a letdown, to be honest.
Okay.
I wasn't that impressed.
Fair enough, Darren. What about you, James?
I think Jeff had a great time. That's all that matters, isn't it? But no, I think it was quite disappointing. And I think it didn't help being bookended by a PlayStation showcase and an Xbox showcase. It's like, how much could they really get to make it a great show? And there's still, what is the Capcom coming up? There's loads of different showcases.
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
I think it needs to separate itself from the rest of the showcases.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that's why the Game Awards is a better timing, I think, for this kind of thing. So, hopefully, never again.
Paul, you're more upbeat about this, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know what's up with these pair of negative Nancy's. I thought it was good. There was some good games shown. Jeff was loving it. Nicolas Cage. I mean,
don't spoil anything. We're going to talk about
that. Sorry. No.
Spoiler alert.
a certain movie star appeared on stage, but the highlight of it for me was the fella that was talking about one of the games, and I think I posted in the chat, this guy needs to be a wrestler because he was so upbeat and so aggressive. He sounded like Macho Man Randy Savage. And he was talking about the most dull-looking game I have ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
But yes, we'll cover that as we go on. The worst trailer ever. Yeah.
I think there is I would say my opinion is I think it's too long. Doesn't need to be that long. And it could have been cut down completely. And there is a thing that I do think that live audience were nice, but they weren't going mad, were they? So it's do you need a live audience? Do you need a live audience anymore? Does it matter? Because they weren't. It didn't matter. I kind of rather just have sort of like if you present it, you just go on to the next. I kind of liked the games thing when it was no live audience, and they just went straight into another one, into a next bit.
I agree. I think Ryan said to me, I think the audience making it worse, like you said, because you're right. They weren't particularly G'd up because it looked pretty full, didn't it, when the camera panned around? But I think Nicolas Cage probably got the biggest shout. Or when Jeff tried to segue from one bit into another, and then it wasn't what everyone expected. I think that got the biggest cheer of the night, which I'm sure we'll come to, which was a very awkward cringe.
I love the adverts he kept managing to shoehorn in as well. Hey, let me tell you about DoorDash. It's like
that's the one.
Yes.
That's the one. But I think you're right, Gareth. I think I liked it when it was shorter, but it felt more substantial. And I just don't understand. I thought the whole point of not doing a live thing was to save money in E3 and stuff, and yet we seem to have gone back to it. And I think it's suffering from some of the same problems as those shows did. Except James is right. Apart from a couple of odd additions, you don't have a lot of the big stuff from the big players because they've got their own ones now. So Well,
we're not. I mean, it was fine. It was fine.
It was okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna go through the list of stuff to talk about, and then you guys, because I've missed a few things out, of course. But you tell me if anything that you want to talk about. But I'm going to start from the end in a weird way. It's a bit strange, isn't it? So I'm going to do the big reveal at the end, which we know about. It was a very strange thing because on the internet, it was funny on the internet after Twitter, people were a lot of memes, which Paul will be a fan of. There was people were expecting something else. I think the moment he said, I think I knew what he was doing. He said, "It comes from a beloved franchise. Yes, the rumors are true." I think everyone was expecting GTA 6. I think that was very funny. Lots of people looking disappointed in memes. But I think this is a pretty big... We knew this was coming. I think there's been some news. But Final Fantasy Rebirth, which is part 2 of the remake stuff, had a trailer for this game. And a sort of time when it's going to come out. We thought it was going to come out. They were talking about it coming out this winter, but it's been pushed to early 2024, and we got a kind of very plush trailer. It gives us a look. James, were you? Did you know this was coming? What did you think? Was it a good surprise?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I didn't even know the name of the game until you just said it. It was certainly Final Fantasy. I think it was the new one. I recognised Tifa, and that was great, really.
Yeah.
I saw Tifa, I thought, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
And then that was me done.
Yeah.
Because I just don't have the time for them games.
No. It's not
for you. It was great fun, though.
Not for you, is it? What about you, Paul? No. You've played the first one. You like the remake?
I like the first one. And, when I saw Tifa, I was quite pleased as well. I mean, what? She's a well-rounded character. I enjoy playing as her.
What was the advice you gave me?
Move on.
Could you see up her skirt or something?
Yeah, me.
No, that was a different game, wasn't it?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I can't remember what game that was, but there was an achievement for looking up the skirt. It might have been Lollipop Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's by the by.
I just apologise to everyone, first of all. Okay. Carry on, Paul.
I think Darren should apologise.
Carry on, Paul.
Right. Sorry,
anyway.
Triggering you, Paul. Sorry.
Yes, triggered. Triggering intensifies. Right. So, what were we talking about?
Final
Fantasy Rebirth. Yes, it looked quite good. All the guys were there that I was hoping for. Like Red 13 and all the rest of them. Yeah. Even Yuffie was there, or Yuffie as she might be called. I mean, it's great. It's a remake of a game that's almost as old as I am. I remember having it first time around on the PlayStation. But it looks good. I enjoyed the first part. Assuming, did it say whether it was coming to the PS4, this version, or is it just PS5 only?
And there's some, I think it accidentally said it was PS4, but I think it is PS5 only, yeah.
Right, well, that's no good then, is it? So, yeah, forget everything I just said. I don't like it. Because the chances of me getting a PS5 past the wife are slim to none.
Right, okay. Darren, you like this, do you? I know Richard's going to like it, yeah.
This is one of the, I think this is one of the things that people have been waiting for, and it was one of the coups really for the show. I think if it didn't have something like this, I do think it would have potentially been in for a bit more flack. I mean, I was a massive fan of the original as well. I absolutely loved it, and Final Fantasy VII is my favourite of the Final Fantasy games. So I've not played the first remake to completion, but I have kind of watched Ryan play a lot of it, and it does look fantastic. This one as well is going to come on 2 physical discs apparently, which sounds incredible. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I do think it's very odd why it was on Summer Games Fest and wasn't on the PlayStation Showcase though, considering it was only a couple of weeks ago. I don't understand why or how it ended up in the Summer Games Fest, because I think something like that would have improved the perception of PlayStation's own showcase. So don't know what happened there, but it looks great. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it does look good. I think there was probably something with them trying to separate the two Final Fantasy. Because I think a lot of people were saying, really disappointed that it's not coming out this year. But I don't think they can have 2 Final Fantasies in the same year. It feels like it's a risk for them in that sense, because I know people will still buy it, but it's a new year with another Final Fantasy. It feels about right rather than just for.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any risk for them pushing it into the first quarter of next year at all.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. But that's good. That's exciting. It's a good thing. We're going to talk about a few good things. Right, I'm going to go right to the beginning here. Back to the beginning. We start the game we saw at the beginning was an Ubisoft game, and this is quite a shock. It was Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. And in my notes, first of all, I thought this was cancelled because I thought first of all it was the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake that obviously died a death now, that we were going to get last year. But this is something completely different. This is it goes back to the original Prince of Persia back in the day on Amiga in the 90s, 1990, that I used to play on a PC. And it has that platform, kind of Metroidvania, almost like 2.5D feel to it. Is that right? With boss battles and platforming.
I would say so.
Yeah. I thought this looked good. I think it's a good... This feels like a good way of doing it, I think, this Prince of Persia with that. Something a little bit different. I quite like the look of it. Who wants to... Paul, you'd like the look of this, don't you?
I did like the look of this, to be honest. When I was watching it, the sort of jumping about and all the platforming through the gaps and everything, and he seemed to have some of the time powers from Sands of Time, where he could slow things down or zip through, and yeah, I mean, it looked really, really good. It was very flashy. There was not much to it. You didn't see a huge amount of what it's about. But the game itself has definitely piqued my interest.
Yeah, I think we might see a bit more of it in the Ubisoft conference on Monday. But yeah, I mean, I do fondly remember that the first game back in the day in 1991 or whenever it came out, and loving that kind of platform. That experience and that kind of world. So it's something quite nice to go. James, you like look at this?
The only thing that made me excited was that if they've got that, then hopefully the Ubisoft Forward has some better things.
Skull and Bones.
It's not for you.
Interesting Prince of Persia.
No.
I used to play Aladdin. Aladdin was a bit like Prince of Persia.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And that was annoying.
Yeah.
Good, but annoying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably give it a miss.
Good, that's good. We're gonna get to James' game in a minute. I think we'll find we'll find one for him. Darren, what about you?
This was on my list, so this is why I thought it was quite a good start, because the remake, Ubisoft released a bit of a thing a couple of weeks ago saying it is still alive, apparently. The Sands of Time remake. But sorry, it's not going to be showcased, but we are still working on it, apparently. So I believe it is still alive somewhere.
Right.
But I like the look of this, I've got to say. Like anything in that universe, I think is quite an attractive prospect, because there's not been a Prince of Persia game for quite a while, has there? I know it's not the main series, but still, I think it looks like it could be quite good. And it looks a bit more arcadey in terms of that platforming, which, you know, might be a good warm up for if we get some news on the remake or whatever. So yeah, I like the look of it.
Be interested to see how much it is, whether it's a full price game or a $24.99 game.
Yeah, I think it'll be somewhere around the 20-25 mark, I would say.
And that's called Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. It's coming out on January the 18th, 2024. God, they've gone for that date, haven't they?
I was thinking that.
Yeah. Right, then we're going to do something James is going to love next. Mortal Kombat 1. James, you saw some gameplay. You had a chat from the guy who made it originally in 1975. Yeah, he was good. I liked him. James, what do you think? Any good?
It was bloody brutal, and I loved every second of it. Whether it was the scorpion, what did you call it? Roughing he uses. We shoved it right for his throat. I thought, oh yeah, give him more of that.
I think we're going to need to have some kind of intervention.
So it also showed that it gave like a little bit of tag team action in this new one, which is quite interesting. Because they're called cameo fighters, and you can have like Sub-Zero, Sonya, I think it's Kano, all the
Goro
classics
as well.
Yeah, Goro, he's such a beast. You can tag them in at almost any point to do like a special move. I think that adds a new aspect to it. I think even though it's technically going back to the start, it looks like a real interesting reboot because it's a whole new timeline. So all the stories can be different than what we know. And that makes me really interested. And I know why they're doing what they're doing. So hopefully it'll be a great story and lots more blood and bones and guts. And actually,
yeah,
I can't wait for it.
Paul,
I'm getting a bit concerned.
Yeah, Paul, you like this business?
I did like the look of this. Yeah, it looked fantastic. All the blood and guts and gore and bones and stuff. I want more of that. But yeah, I mean the story of it seemed quite exciting. So Liu Kang is now protector of Earthrealm and become the god of fire. So he's made a whole new universe, which I thought was quite an interesting way of redoing it, because the story in Mortal Kombat 11 was absolutely bonkers with all the time travel and everything else that went with it. So trying to keep track of who was who in which timeline was just ridiculous. But yeah, it looks great. The tagging people in and out, like James says, that looks very interesting. And yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised at how good it looked as well.
Good.
To say it's going to release, what was it, October?
September the 19th.
September the 19th, it was close. But yeah, that looks very good. And I'll probably end up fighting James for the review.
Darren,
to the death, yeah. Fatality.
Darren, do you know what any of these two you're talking about?
I do. So yeah, I used to play Mortal Kombat back in the day. Yeah, I haven't played any of the new ones for a long time, but like PlayStation 1 years, yeah, I used to love the old ones. So I think that it looked. Paul's right. It looked brilliant. Like visually, I thought it looked brilliant. And I did like the cameo system where they'll just kind of complement your moves with their special moves, and some of them you can play as a main, or you can play just team up as a cameo. So I'm really interested to see where they go with the character roster and stuff as well, because Ed Boon was talking about dipping into the old series quite a lot because it's kind of a full circle thing. And Jean-Claude Van Damme is who's he voicing? I can't remember.
Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage. That's it. So they've been after him for years. Apparently he's involved, and he's done voice acting. So I think I'm a casual fan, but certainly for long-time fans, it's going to be a big event as well. I did read a while ago that it was leaked that some of the cast of the boys were going to be playable characters. So I was wondering if we'd see anything like that, but no reveals yet. So we'll have to see what they come up with.
It did look amazing. I'm not. This is not my type of. I don't play. Even though I went. Do you remember James? Maybe it's before your time, you two. Do you remember I went for Mortal Kombat for the Xbox Hub, and I had to go to an event and play IGN in a competition.
And you embarrassed someone. Actually beat them, didn't you?
I did beat them. I don't know what I was doing.
Wow.
Yeah. In London, it must have been before lockdown. It must have been. Anyway, yeah.
Oh,
it was one of the Mortal Kombats. Yeah. So I did play it, but I still don't know what's going on. But it does.
You said it was in Tekken?
No, I've done Tekken as well. It does look amazing. I'll give you that. It did look amazing. Good. Thank you very much. Mortal Kombat 1, September the 19th. It's quite a busy time now, isn't it? Got so many games are coming out. Path of Exile 2. I've just put Paul here. Paul in big letters. And it did look really good, didn't it?
Yeah. It's the Path of Exile, the first one, was really good. So, yeah, now that there's more coming, I'm cautiously excited. It's going to have to go some to overtake Diablo 4, which I'm currently enjoying immensely. But yeah, it's more of the same is never enough, as they say. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that one.
We only saw a little bit of the clip, but it's coming out. We're going to find out a bit more in July, I think. But it did look good. I did think it looked good.
It did. Yeah.
I'm not going to get
not for you, Gareth.
Not for me at all. Let's just talk about Nick Cage. So, Dead by Daylight, Nick Cage appeared. So that was quite a big thing for me. Nick Cage appeared, and he's going to be in Dead by Daylight as one of the kind of survivors, I think, one of those characters that run around. This is going to be in July. I've written two things down here. My first comment was brilliant, and the other bit is we are fused, which he said to the audience.
He did say that.
Yeah,
he did a lot. Yeah,
I love Nick Cage. So I mean, I don't love Dead by Daylight. It's not my thing, but it's it hasn't aged well. But I loved him. I love him. I think he's great. I can listen to him all day. I think he worked well with the audience. Anyone disagree?
No, it was nice to see him.
It was nice to see him.
Yeah,
the guy's completely bonkers.
Yeah.
I just hope that it brings some different skins in for him, like Ghost Rider and
that's a good idea.
Careful Seat from Snake Eyes, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You can make a fortune off his back catalog.
He could have the mullet from Con Air and stuff. That'd be
Oh
awesome.
wow, absolutely.
Yeah,
mullet and wife beater. That's what you need.
He could have his little cage on with the bees in as well as one of the costumes from the Wicker Man.
My dream is always to have. I think he should do theatre in London. I think it would sell out. Do whatever the hell he wants to do. Seeing Nick Cage live, it'd be brilliant to see him live in the theatre. It'd be amazing. Right, I'm going to move.
Uncaged.
What would he do though? What
he'd do anything.
Would he play?
Anything.
Be himself.
You can't see him as King Lear.
I can. I'd love to see him as King Lear. Yeah, it'd be great. Do what he wants to do. I'm just going to go through some other games here. I've got my list. Witchfire. Now, I've written this down, and it's coming out September the 20th, but I can't remember anything about it. Can you look?
No. Was the Witches on Fire? I don't know. No, it's
probably
not remembering it.
It's not the one with the person walking about with a ghost.
Showcase.
No.
It starts to blend into one, really.
Yeah, was it part of that? Was it part of that middle section where it was just like, here's some generic fantasy games?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there was a lot of them.
It's a shooter, apparently.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Magic.
Oh, that was right. That's all right. I did highlight it. Sorry about that. That's all I've got. We had one thing for our PSVR 2. They had one game, Crossfire, coming out in August.
Next.
Yeah. Remnant 2. Now, who played the first Remnant? That looks.
I did. Yeah, it was very good.
We got that in one of the other showcases. This looks all right, doesn't it, Paul?
Remnant was a very good sort of Souls-like, but using guns instead of melee weapons. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that and the DLC that came out for it. So a second one, I think, is very good news. So yes, I think Richard did the reviews for us.
Right.
So he's probably quite excited. But I think more Remnant is only a good thing.
James, have we played this together in co-op for someone? Maybe we did it for Richard to help him out.
I'm trying to think, is it one way to stand by to it, protect it?
Help out.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there was some of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't play much of it. It wasn't great.
There you go.
How rude.
Anyone else want to talk about Remnant, Darren?
Not particularly.
No, good. Well, there you go. The next one I'm going to talk about is Sonic Superstars. My first bit of my notes were Christ. But then I said, Christ, more Sonic. I can't have any Sonic. But then
it's the second coming.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but then I did
confused. Yeah,
but then I did say it does look good. It does look a nice. It's an upgraded version, isn't it, of the game Superstars, Sonic Superstars. It looks very pretty. Darren, tell us about it.
It does. I mean, I love Sonic like Richard does. At first, I was a bit like, oh my God, how many times can you dig these games up and polish them? But by the end of the showcase, it was one of my highlights. So, it does look good though. I'm always a sucker for a Sonic game. Like, I think it's always been better when it's been grounded in 2D. The fully 3D ones never quite match up. I think they got close with the Sonic Adventure games, but So I think the fact that they're sticking kind of to the roots in terms of 2D by the looks of it, but then you can play as different characters and it's a bit more flashy. Looks good. The only observation I had was at times it didn't look like you were going very fast, which the point is to go really fast. And it looked like it had slowed down a little bit in the newer segments. So maybe that's just the impression the trailer gave off. We'll have to see.
Okay, good. Right. I'm going to just talk about life. I always say this.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well.
I'm not going to talk to James about it.
I thought it was rubbish. I think that Sticky beating is going to fall to bits anytime soon.
Good. James, you got anything to say about it?
Just that I'm glad it's gone back to 2D.
Oh,
I think that's what we need. And it's got co-op.
So
I think that'll be...
You'll be able to get Gareth in to help you when you do the review.
Yes, absolutely.
When you say help...
Unbelievable. James, you can talk about the next one, which is Lies of Pi. No, it's not Lies of Pi. It's Lies of P.
Yeah,
Lies of P.
Lies of Pi.
Here we go. It's that boat with the tiger in it. Yeah,
yeah, that's the one. Lies of P. It's a new little trailer. We've got a date now, which we thought was August, but now it's September the 19th. What do you think, James? I've got my notes here.
When you're taking my notes, I've got none for that because I'm not interested. But to be fair, the visuals look quite nice. I like the art style of the outside world. It was quite vibrant at times.
Yeah.
Even though it's dark, when it's vibrant, it really pops. Otherwise, no.
Paul, is it fair to say, because we had a sort of like in one of the showcases, we had a very long kind of gameplay section, didn't we? About 20 minutes, and I lost my interest in a little bit when I just was watching like 20 minutes of it. It didn't look as good in that gameplay. Remember we talked about this maybe a couple of months ago.
We did, yeah.
And I felt that this is what it needed. It looked much better, even though we were seeing a lot of cutscenes there. But hopefully, it's had a bit of polish. It maybe looks a bit better from what it did before. It's a Souls game, isn't it?
It is. It's a Souls-like, yeah. And it's a proper Souls-like by the look of it. Yeah. And I thought it looked really good. So, yeah, James obviously doesn't know what he's on about. But the Lies of P for me, it's on my list of highlights. So, yeah.
Good.
Sign me up for a Souls-like. I mean, it's obviously not for you, Gareth, because you're not any good at these.
I'm very good at this.
Did you ever finish Elden Ring?
Yes, I did now. I've done it now.
Did you know?
I have done it now, yes. I've done it in the
last
month.
If I go and check your achievements, it will say you have now completed it.
I'm doing secret games, so everything's in private.
Right. That's convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good. Except for your looking at your achievement score, how bad it is. Okay, so what we're gonna see is we can.
It to 500.
You always lose. I can't do that again. I can't take more drinks off you. The demo is out now, so you can all have a little go at the demo. Try it out now. It's on the thing. September the 19th on Game Pass. So that's it. God, it's busy. September's busy.
It is.
let's talk about James. Darren, I'll come to you in a minute. I'm going to go to James again. James, Sandland. I thought this looks like James's game.
Yes, it certainly did. He's welcome to it.
I think it didn't show me much to entice me apart from it was from the creator of Dragon Ball. And I think you could tell by the visuals, all the characters were very Dragon Ball-esque. Yeah, I think you've got to just explore the world and kill like demons and stuff. Yeah. I know the main character's called Beelzebub. Right, I don't know much about it. Well, I
think the world is shared by humans and demons, so I think you've got a mixed bag in there. I mean,
it's a desert world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an Unreal Engine. No water. Yeah, Unreal Engine 5. It looked good. It looked nice, but it's still in that kind of I thought that might.
Yeah, I want to see more.
Yeah, we don't know when it's coming out. It hasn't got any dates. I think it's a while away. Darren, anything in that you like the look of?
I'm again a big fan of Dragon Ball and stuff. Used to watch that and Dragon Ball Z when I was younger, and I think the same artist did the Dragon Quest, the animation Dragon Quest, didn't he? So, anything it always piques my interest. I just want to know more, like James said, really, like what's going to make that different from. There's many games that thrashing around in that category. What's going to make it different apart from it's from an anime artist that we know? So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that one, but I'm not sold yet.
Okay, fine. I've put names down to the next 4 games. We've got one each to talk about, right? So this is the first one. So leading the first
one.
Whether
you like it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Party animals. James. Tell us about party animals.
I'll be honest. I saw the people tend to have a great time playing it, and I've got a little bit disinterested. It does look a very silly game.
It does, like I said. Is it you're basically just all trying to push each other off things? It's a bit like what's that game we play?
A bit like Fall Guys.
Fall Guys, yeah. Is it
Human Fall Flat?
But no idea was good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, James, that's yours. That's your one to chat about. You've got nothing good to say about that.
I can help with that one.
Oh, go on then, Dan.
Yeah, go
it looks a lot like the game that Paul helped me review called Filthy Animals. Do you remember that, Paul?
Oh, God. As if I could forget. I still have flashbacks.
It's a bit. I think the controls a bit like Human Fall Flat as well. Did you help me with that, James, as well?
Unfortunately, I was there.
You made James play it with us as well. Yeah.
To you both.
You've got a lot to answer for.
I think it's very similar to that, where you controlling your little character is like your legs made out of jelly, but it's even more infuriating than that. So hopefully this is better than Filthy Animals.
Okay, well that's coming out this year, this autumn, or not autumn, winter. Now the next one is for Darren, and of course it's Alan Wake 2.
Yes.
We saw
oh, come on.
We saw a chat from the lead developer for Remedy. He had a little kind of conversation. Then we saw a little kind of bit of gameplay. It looked like it's from the beginning, and then some cutscenes. Darren, what do you think?
It hasn't changed my opinion on it because I was really excited anyway, but I mean, I wasn't really that impressed with what we saw because what we saw, it looked brilliant. Like it very much reminded Resident Evil 4 remake when it first kind of panned across the shoulder of Saga, the new detective who you kind of share the story with. But the gameplay segment, I'm sure I'd seen some of that in trailers already, where the demon bursts through the wall and stuff. So I kind of knew what was coming, which kind of took the edge off a bit. And then it kind of ended very quickly. So I just wanted more, really. I mean, the preamble chat was all very interesting and stuff, but in terms of what we actually saw, I don't know. I felt like after the PlayStation showcase, I felt like we didn't really get anything extra from what we saw at Summer Games Fest. It wasn't like a big reveal or anything. It was just like, here's a tiny, teeny update on it. And that was a problem for me throughout a lot of the show.
Yeah. What we did learn is you're playing as the two characters, Alan Wake and what's the detective's name?
Saga something. Yeah. I can't remember her surname.
And I think they were saying you could swap between the two characters. Is that right? Or you can choose to just take one character all the way through.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He was saying without spoiling it. Yeah. It's 50-50 split if you choose it to be, but you can see the story through predominantly as one character if you choose. So in theory, you could potentially have 2 different games to play, a bit like in the old Resident Evil games where you chose between play through A or B if you played as, Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield. So, but it sounds more fluid than that. So it sounds really interesting and typical Remedy, really. The way they tell stories.
And it looked like there's a little bit of a detective mode in there. It had a little glimpse of it right at the end. There was something.
A bit point clicky it went, didn't it? And he said, Matt, again, can't remember his surname, but the chap from Remedy said that it was their first survival horror game. So I think they've really doubled down on that genre. I thought the first one had real strong elements of survival horror, but it sounds like they've really gone for it in this one. So that does excite me.
Yeah. October 17th.
October again.
Yeah, amazing. That looks good. I'm a big fan of that as well. I mean, Darren, like that. Now,
bro.
Paul. I put down Paul here. This is for Paul, but I actually went, this looks very good. It's the Warhammer Space Marine 2. I don't know if
that did look good.
It did look good. Is it coming to console? All I know is this winter.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Because we've got another Warhammer game that should have come to the Series X. That was part of the year thing. But it did look good, didn't it, Paul?
It did look good. Impressed. Yeah, I do like the look of it. It's looked like proper kind of horde mode, killing everything that moves and being the whole kind of Space Marine captain that stood there. I can't understand why, if you're a captain, you don't have to wear a hat. Whereas if you're just a Space Marine, you've got a big helmet on, and so you're not going to get your head took off. But anyway, so I was very excited by that. I like the action on display. I like the slicing and dicing and shooting and blood and guts and gore and stuff. I'm cautiously excited. Although I have to say, that isn't the game that I expected you to put my name next to.
Well, we haven't finished yet, so we've still got
to do.
Okay.
There we go.
But I did like. I think with that game, I also not impressed, but also very impressed by the horde stuff. But also, it just looked, the kind of like landscapes looked really good.
Yeah, it looked proper Warhammer universe, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Rather than sometimes it just look a bit muddy, and brown.
Yeah, or they're in like bland corridors sort of thing.
Yeah,
whereas this was a proper open world with the big baddies. Yeah, it looked very good.
Very good. Good. And now my one. What do you think this might be?
I think you're probably going to claim Immortals of Avium.
No, I'm going to go for Under the Waves.
Oh yes,
yes. This is. I was very excited about this before when it was like teased, but it came quite near the end. But it's I think it's coming to Xbox. It might be coming to just PlayStation, but it's a one-person under the waves exploring, and the ocean looks like they live on their own underneath there in a sort of like research center, and like you're going out exploring it, kind of single player adventure. It just looks right up my street. Something odd's going on. I kind of love that kind of just exploration. Bits of no man's sky underwater. Yeah, it just looked good. And it's coming August the 29th, which isn't far away at all. It just looks, I don't know, just something about it that appeals to me. I'm quite excited. Just put brilliant in big words. Yeah.
Does it appeal to you because it looks dull?
Oh, Paul.
It's not for Paul. It's not for Paul.
Not for me.
Let's go through a few more. You were going to talk about, Your Grace. It's got a sequel. Yes, Your Grace. Snowfall. And coming 20. I thought that was a really good trailer for that. Anyone agree?
Nope.
Nothing.
I thought it was quite good. I've not played the original though, but I thought it was quite good.
I thought it looked quite good. I've got next one: Bon Jovi, John Carpenter, Toxic Commander. Now, the reason I was laughing with my partner Benedetta. I was saying to her, no one knows this generation. A lot of younger, even sort of 30s, don't know who the hell John Carpenter is.
Mm-hmm. I don't know who John Bon Jovi
is. I've got Paul in big letters here. Toxic Commander, co-op, Paul.
Fantastic.
This looks awful, Paul. Tell me about it. Why do you think?
This looks brilliant, Gareth. You just don't have a Scooby. I mean, obviously, it's no beneath the waves, but John Carpenter doing a zombie 80s sort of action movie homage. It just ticks all the boxes. You're driving around, running over zombies, shooting them through the windows. It just looks brilliant. What's not to love? It's like Left 4 Dead and almost Gears of War almost had a baby. That sounds like the ideal game. And when you stick John Carpenter in there, and obviously Bon Jovi. Yeah, it's fantastic.
What's John Carpenter said about? What's he contributed to that game? Well, I think
probably the design of the zombies or something, maybe.
Oh dear, the name, Toxic Commander.
Yeah,
I'm done. Give me 20 grand cash. We said cash. I'm off.
Yes, that's it. Honestly, I thought that looked very, very good. That was one of my highlights.
Oh, you're joking me, bro.
No, that was one of my highlights. There was no Alien Fireteam Elite, so that'll have to do.
James, back Paul up here. Was it one of your highlights?
I think it depends. If Bon Jovi's actually in the game, as a soundtrack,
as a zombie,
or in zombies, yeah, then I might be sold.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that was anything that interested me. It was
Yeah.
a song.
Yes, like the song. That was it.
Great team.
James, I'm going to go to you now.
Spider-Man
2. We knew we've seen Spider-Man. We didn't see any new footage, but one of the developers came out and they chatted a little bit about the kind of like, what do we learn about the Venom?
It's
not Venom for a start.
Completely new Venom,
Right?
and then a completely original story. So they're not going to tell us who it is. We're going to have to wait and find out. It's not Eddie Brock, apparently.
Okay.
But yeah, they gave us the release date.
Yeah, they gave us a release date.
Which was October
the 20th. Yeah. So another big one. October's mad.
I want to get so excited for it, but I know I won't play it.
No, you won't. You.
But whoever's got a PS5, if you don't buy it, you're mad. It's going to be a fantastic game.
Yeah. I think the things that we just know a little bit more, I think we can switch at random. I think we talked about that's been confirmed, like GTA 5, where you can swap between Peter and Miles. Yeah. Anytime. It's double the size of the first game, with Queens and Brooklyn being put into there. It did look great before. We chatted about it before, but it's good. It's October the 20th. As Darren said, why did they do the date on the PlayStation Showcase?
No idea.
Just got great mates in high places.
Hey, well, yeah. I don't know who Jeff Keighley's blackmailed to get that revealed, but he's done a good job.
It's the maddest thing. It's like so weird. Because that would have helped people's expectations of that place if they've got a date. They had no dates for anything apart from one thing, wasn't it? I can't remember what it was. Yeah, it's very strange. But that's going to be great. It's going to be good. Let's talk about Power World, which is the rip-off.
Absolutely is.
My goodness.
I don't know anything about Pokemon, but it's Pokemon with guns apparently.
Yep.
Is this a rip-off? What is it?
It certainly is. I mean, it's maybe not a rip-off in so far as the story and whatever, but the design of the creatures that you could have. It's like they just took a picture of a Pokemon and stuck a gun on it. So, they were riding across the water on what I would have sworn was a Gyarados. But, so, yeah, it's just, honestly, I think Nintendo will be spinning in their grave. So, yeah, it's... what did you think, James?
I think Nintendo got enough to worry about with Foam Stars.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, them lawyers are going to be getting a workout, aren't they?
I think it is I think it is a bit of a Mickey take on Pokemon. Mm-hmm. Because you can catch creatures, but in the game it's illegal. So you've got to kind of do it underhanded and make money off catching them. It's a bit dark in that sense. And you've got guns. That just might save them for a lawsuit. And there's enough differences between that and Pokemon. I think they'll get away with it. It's a survival game as well. So I think you've got to do a lot of crafting. But yeah, there's no way they've not seen Pokemon beforehand. Those characters are all absolute copies of our favourite Pokemon.
Okay.
And I'm ashamed that I might play it.
There's no might about it, is there? You'll be there day one.
It's January 2024. It's going to come out. Very briefly, we're going to just talk. There's a Lord of the Rings game coming out, Return Tomorrow, which looks like a kind of crafting game. It looks like, James, remember that game we played with Neil, which we were with sort of dwarfs mining underground in co-op?
Yeah, it looks like that, but with a license for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, you sort of bury an underground fight. Yeah, it looks exactly like that, doesn't it? Yeah. I have no interest in this, but I'm sure Lord of the Rings people will.
Could it be better than Gollum? Maybe. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a high bar.
Banishers. This was the game I was talking about. It's coming at the end of 2023. It's that one we saw. This it was a kind of like a Scottish warrior, and he had a ghost with him.
Mm-hmm.
That looked quite good.
I
And
thought.
it's by Focus, so I think do Plague Tale and stuff. And I don't think it's not the same developer, it's that same. Yeah, it looks really. Yeah, it's quite interesting, didn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Dragon for Richard. Sequel or the next one of the chapter that's coming out November the 9th. That looks good.
I thought that looked quite good as well.
Good.
What was the title? Because it sounded like a Bond film or something.
Like a Dragon Gaiden, or Gaiden, and it was the man who lost his name or something. Yeah, did something with his name. Forgot his name. Yeah, it's like
that
Gareth.
sounds like a lost Bond film.
It does sound like me. And the last one to talk about is Immortals Avium, which is coming out on July 20th. Yeah. It looks very good.
Again, it's not for you, Gareth.
No, it's for me, this one, Paul. It's not for you. You've had your big you've had your big games of the year. That's it.
You're going to be reviewing Toxic Commando as punishment.
Oh, wow. Let's just briefly talk before we go about the other ones. Anything to highlight from the Guerrilla Showcase you want to talk about?
The fact that it was 3 hours long.
Good. Anything you liked from that, Paul?
Only one.
Go on in.
It was called, and the annoying thing is it's not coming out on the Xbox, but it was called Sacrifier, and it was kind of a retro style RPG that looked quite cool, but it's only coming out on the PC. So once I saw that bit at the end of the trailer, I was like, So yeah, 3 hours, one game I liked, and it's not even coming to the Xbox.
Good.
So brilliant.
Good. Well done. What about you, James?
Well, I thought it was quite a good show. It's all the games.
Yeah.
But one of the first games was Sengoku Dynasty. It caught my attention.
Oh yeah, it did, didn't it? The crafty kind of like game, not the
world craft game. Yeah.
Very good.
It's set in feudal Japan. I'm just fascinated by that kind of stuff. You're making Japanese weapons, building a village. I thought it was great as well. It's an Unreal Engine they're using, so it's going to look great anyway, isn't it?
Was it coming this year? I think it might be, but
I don't really see a date, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't remember. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it did look really good. What about you, Darren? Anything you want to take from that?
I didn't watch it, but I had a look at the reveals and things.
What? Excuse me?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Talk about professional.
Have you got onto the fact that I'm quite drunk? No, I'm not. My speaker cutting out. No, I didn't watch it, but I did catch up on it, and Europa kind of caught my eye.
Oh yeah.
So it was a bit like kind of a Zelda, new style Zelda. Really kind of good looking, that sense of mystery and adventure. And I thought, considering a lot of these were kind of smaller indie games, I thought it looked really impressive. Like, it looked amazing. So I was impressed by the scale of it, to be fair. So I'm very interested to see what that turns into. But otherwise, that was the one that caught my eye.
Watercolor platformer. That's what I put here. Watercolor platformer.
That sums it up.
I've got one, and it's World of Horror, which is a 1-bit graphical game. That looks interesting. It looks really interesting. And really good. Sort of like really kind of like hand drawn-y kind of like. Yeah, it's great. It's really good. And what about the Devolver? Anything from the Devolver? I've got one, which I think is the main thing. Darren, you watched the Devolver Showcase. I know Paul.
Yeah, it was quite short, but well, the showcase itself was like the main story. It was crazy how they did it. But yeah, Human Fall Flat 2 was featured. So that's what we were talking a little bit about earlier. I can't remember when it's coming out. I think it might be August, September. But I think a lot of people have been waiting for that. So that kind of stood out for me. But yeah, the showcase in itself, they've got a little mascot called Volvi. And if you haven't watched it, just watch it to see what happened to him because it's crazy, but it's good. It's worth watching.
There's a game which I love the look of, and if you haven't, James, did you watch any of it?
I did.
What do you think of Baby Steps?
I mean, all I could think of was you. I thought it was perfect. A real walking sim.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
it's unbelievable. If you've got to get a chance, go look at Baby Steps, the game trailer. I think it's a brilliant trailer. So basically, you're a 36-year-old man who lives in his parents' basement, and you get zapped into this world. You basically have to learn to sort of like walk again, don't you? Literally, I think it's like a physics kind of book, but it's got a very kind of funny. The script's really funny. And there's a great bit of dialogue between these two characters at the end of the trailer that really made me laugh. So, yeah, it looks intriguing, like sometimes these indie games do. Yeah, have a look at the trailer. Now, we are at the end of this one, but we are.
Hang on, can I mention another game?
Yeah, of course you can, Paul.
Sorry, it's not on this Devolver one because a certain podcast host said, "Don't bother watching this. We'll have plenty to talk about." So I took him at his word.
Oh, excuses.
However, I have seen today that they're going to remake Shadows of the Damned. You remember from the Xbox 360 and PS3 area? Did you ever play that?
No.
Brilliant. Right. Okay. So that's great. Well, I'm sure that somebody out there in Listenerland will have played Shadows of the Damned, which is great. It was a fantastic game at the time, and it's being remade, and that's really big news, and I'm excited, and I'm very disappointed in you all.
I can't believe you interrupted my outro for that.
Well,
Graham,
I was thinking you were all going to say, I remember that game. Good Lord.
I might rethink the remaster, you know?
Everybody's gone, huh?
We're going to be back quite quick next week. I think this might be coming out next. This is coming out to Saturday. We'll be back on Wednesday for the Xbox and Ubisoft showcases, our thoughts on that. And I think Darren won't be with us, but Richard's coming in, and Paul will be here, and James. Might be a bit.
5 of us.
Yeah. Well, no, Darren's not going to be here because Darren can't do it, but Richard's going to be instead of Darren.
I am working. Saturday.
Okay. So we'll have somebody from the third world, so that's fine.
We're gonna very quickly before we go. One game that we've done this before, but what are we thinking we're going to see from the Xbox conference? A surprise. What's your surprise game, Darren?
I mean, before recent PR, I would have said Fable, but I guess that's not a surprise anymore, is it? But I have heard a rumor that they're going to announce a new Blinks game. Do you remember that came out on the Xbox?
God. Yeah.
It's an IP that we haven't heard of for a while. They're looking for I've heard they're looking to bring back some original Xbox IPs and things. So Blinks is my prediction, but Fable will be amazing. So
good. Okay. What about you, James?
I think we might see some Forza. I'm not sure.
How about a bit of Starfield? Do you think we'll see that?
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Good Lord.
Paul?
Well, if we're talking about things coming back from the original Xbox, if we're going to be dreaming, I'd like to see a Dino Crisis 4.
No, there you go.
Because Dino Crisis 3 was amazing.
Good.
So, yeah, I'd like to see a remake of that isn't Exoprimal.
Yes.
Speaking of which, do you remember the Exoprimal and Street Fighter 6 crossover?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. I didn't mention that for a reason.
No, I was almost as excited as the Porsche.
The Porsche. Oh my God.
Those. I think those look really nice. I don't know what's up with
you can't even buy them. So.
Well, I've entered the sweepstake. So,
Paul, if someone come to your house and went, "What's that? Why you've got a rainbow coloured Xbox?" and you go, "No, it's
Pride Month, mate."
It's anniversary of 35 years of Porsche. They go, "Why isn't there
75 years?
Why isn't there a Porsche on there?" And you go, "Well, no, it's the colours of all the Porsches."
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand why it's such a difficult concept to grasp.
We all hate it.
They're very nice looking consoles.
No, it's awful.
All I can say is I can see why Xbox booted that out their own showcase and gave it to Summer Games Fest. Whereas PlayStation should have kept on to their.
You know what? You two. What did you think, James? Do you think they looked all right, or are you with these Philistines?
I'm going to enter the sweepstake, and if I win it, I was putting them in.
No, that is cold.
That's how we're gonna end this podcast on that statement.
That's a proper mic drop moment.
I'll get her to do you one bespoke if you want.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, if you can paint my Xbox for me, that'd be awesome.
Brilliant.
Good
Right.
Lord.
Thank you very much. Now, if we need to find you, where do we find you, Darren?
I'm on Twitter at 27Darren is my handle.
And what about you, Paul?
I am also on the Twitter, and my handle is at TheXboxHub.
And James.
My handle is off limits. So my tag on Twitter and Instagram is at OPGKO.
Nobody wants your handle, James.
Sensible move, James. Sensible move.
Right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You can find me at GB Brian on Twitter and Twitch. But for now, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub, and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.